الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's happening? First things first, let me get a mic check real quick. Let me know if y'all can hear me before we get this party started, man. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Sharita, what up? What up? What up? My man Khalid in the building. Michael Renee, what's up? We good? Oh man, alhamdulillah, man. Alhamdulillah. Man, happy Friday. Juma Mubarak. Man, it's still Ramadan Mubarak, Shalom, Shabbat, Hotep, peace, Black Power. And if you're just from the streets, what up, though? What's happening? Um, Man, we're gonna have a little quick, powerful conversation. It's really not gonna be long, but it's one of them ones that you really need to do, though. I think it makes sense. I'm gonna show why I think it makes sense. And why we need to do it. All right. So let's rock and roll. Man, the first slide I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna take it old school because I think black folks, which is majority of my base, majority of my people, um, and even if not, man, I definitely appreciate you. But I want to talk specifically to the black man and black woman because we still got a little bit of a problem where we're not really connected to our history in a sense, right? And solve some of this issue. But this is the original Muhammad Speaks newspaper, which is like the predecessor to the Final Call. And it's something ironic that's on here. Really, I think we didn't really pay attention to the African brother from the African continent connecting with the African brother on the Asian continent, and thus connecting and meeting in the middle right here in America where the light of the sun is going to shine. The star is going to rise from the west. That's always been a prophecy. You know what I'm saying? The star going to rise in the west. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, this symbol of Asiatic on the Asian continent, you got to go get some Asiatic knowledge. And then on the African continent, you got to go get you some African knowledge. All right. And it just ain't solely in Islam, solely. You know what I'm saying? And you got to know how it all makes sense. Right. So I love this image as I was going through some studies and whatnot. And I just thought this was phenomenal and was really telling the story because seeing those newspapers in my earlier days, I wasn't paying attention to it per se. You know what I mean? But it's kind of right there, far as linking us and rooting us on two different continents where we're gonna shine our light within the continent that we in. You feel me? So, quick little history, man. You should really look into the historical Amadou Bamba. May Allah be pleased with his soul and magnify his light. Really, the founder of a Sufi was now a Sufi order in Senegal, Touba, Senegal. And this is a masjid. They run the whole city, right? And there is a saying, messed me up when I came across this. This is a saying in the Wolof language of West Africa, Nar Yaknadini, means the Arabs messed up our religion. Shouldn't say or, should say our. So Nar Yaknadini, the Arabs messed up our religion. And that is funny to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, hold on. And so the West Africans in the Wall of language literally have a saying based off their perception that the Arabs messed up Islam. For real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Which to me is profound because that tells you that we must be dealing with something different that the Arabs are not necessarily practicing per se, right? And this is no slight at the Arabs. I'm just saying what's on the cultural record as a historical fact, okay? Far as what the culture says. Now, Yaknadini, you know what I'm saying? Y'all messed it up, all right? And the truth of the matter is, this is a known fact. Ramadan is out of season. Ramadan literally translates to mean hot month, right? And here it is in the middle of winter, and we practicing Ramadan. What's up with that? And the Quran is very clear. The number of months, according to Allah, is 12 and 4 is sacred. And do and keep this. And if you err in this, you err in your religion, you err in your deen, you err in the law of what is given, right? That's in the Quran, right? So, you know, that's out of pocket. And so what happened when the calendar got changed? This is tons of information that's already out there and whatnot, but it doesn't have its root in where it was when that calendar change happened. And that put us in error because when you understand the cosmos, you move within a season for a particular reason. Okay, it's no different than planting a planting season for seeds. Are we gonna go out here and plant seeds in the middle of the winter when it's snowing, or should we wait? Right. So you know, yeah, Naryak Nadini, I'm feeling that because I can see some errors and some things, for sure. All right, and I'm not gonna let nobody. I ain't right now. I ain't until something else is revealed to me. I'm not gonna let nobody mess up the cosmic Quran because the Quran by far is the one that is giving you the information about the heavens and the earth, but particularly the heavens, your relationship to the heavens. And as I'm going to show, your relationship with the heavens specifically at a precise time so you can negate and destroy the evil influences from people. It's all astronomically timed, right? So I got tons of videos showing how the Quran is astronomically aligned. But here is a something to do, something that you can actualize, something that you can put into practice every single day of your life. All right. So this ain't just all up in the stars. How you make it practical is what I like to specialize in. All right. So let's get into it. The prayer that breaks the evil eye. All right. All right. What's my favorite verse? What's my favorite chapter and verse, y'all? What is it? Remember, it's 51:22. And in the heaven is your provision, and whatever you are promised. It's my favorite. Hands down, I ain't coming off of it no time soon. In the heavens and earth is your provision, and everything that is promised to you. That says a few things. One, God, Allah, don't got nothing for you. He dropped it off. It's in the heavens. Two, you must understand some type of heavenly science to figure out where everything, that's what it says, where everything promised to you is located at. How do you do that? So what this says to me, when I understand the astroscience, here comes the astroscience. Now introducing those who have a knowledge of heavenly law. You must know that so you can understand where your provisions are at. Ooh, man. Alhamdulillah. Talking about. That's what we gave me. What y'all cats talking about? Naryak Nadini. Y'all messing up the religion. Get out of here, man. All right. All right. So let's look at this thing that is called what? Promise. Do you know a promise? As you can see, it says promise, but in the Quran, that same root word actually means a threat and a warning. Time out, ladies and gentlemen. So your provision and everything promised to you, a promise is connected to a threat. So now are you telling me My threats is in the heaven that can be foreseen. The threat of my accidents, the threat of the gunshots, the threat of, all that kind of stuff that can be foreseen in the heaven. That's in the heaven somewhere. Yeah, it's in the heaven somewhere. Absolutely. Absolutely, positively. It's in the heaven. And the beautiful thing about it, and it's kind of funny, because just like the sun appears, like it rises in the morning, and we can say, oh, there goes the light, but the light is moving throughout the day. Then it goes to the south, then it goes to the west, and then you don't see it. So at one point in time, let's just in simple math roughly say 12 hours out the day, even though it's not true right now, but let's just say 12 hours out the day, we can see the light. Then the remaining 12 hours out the day, we don't. So that means, let's say the light in this case is your money or whatever your provision is. There's a time where it appears to be above your head. You can locate it. And there's a time where it's not there because the heavens rotate. So now you have to have a knowledge of where it is precisely. And when it rotates, okay, where it is again. Because it's just not sitting there stuck in one spot because the heavens are rotating. Okay. All right. So now the Quran now is telling us that, what you are promised, this is connected to a threat. This can be a problem too. So it just ain't about your abundance and everything. Ain't about this sustenance that you just can rely upon to fill you up. Nah, homie, you got a threat that's in the heavens. Okay. All right. So let's go to the heavenly science. Pay attention to house number 12. Ooh, they said bad spirit over there. They say this is the house of enemies. Over here, it's really secret enemies. Over here, 12th house. Okay, 12th house is ruled by Neptune. Let's get some cosmic understanding today. The planet Neptune is associated with compassion and artistic expression, especially through music, where Neptune is found found in your birth chart shows where and how you express imagination, as well as where you can be prone to deceiving others or being deceived or deluding yourself or being deluded. Neptune rules over Pisces in the 12th house of the unconscious. Neptune is associated with what? Mysticism, creativity, and the sea. The negative expressions of Neptune include escapism, often via drug or alcohol addiction, deception, and confusion. Neptune takes about 165 years to orbit the zodiac, spending about 14 years in each sign. Pay attention to my arrows. Deception, you can be deceived. Disguise, that's a trick. Okay. Religious devotion, show you is connected to spirituality. Spiritualism, says it in itself. Imagination, this is all the mystical things, but you have to understand this is secret spiritual enemies coming in under a cloak, a disguise. You can monitor this. Man, it's easy to spot them too. Only thing you got to do is wait for something to be transiting your 12th house and then go do something publicly and see who disagree with you. You're going to know what's up. It's really, you can flush them out, right? So this is the area, planet, and space that deals with secret enemies. So shout out to my homie, man, Abby. Abby is the classic Pisces. I mean, she exemplifies this energy better than I've seen. Just like, to me, I think Bob Marley is the classic icon for Aquarius. Erykah Badu represents what Pisces, disguise. She is the master of disguise. You would think Erykah had dreadlocks and the whole time she messed around had a wig. So she's the master of costumes. She's the master of illusions, right? And she put that spell on you too. She actually sell coochie scent incense. That's all I'm telling you. It's a whole nother level because it deals with, for lack of a better word, it deals with magic, meaning imaginational creativity. Okay. All right. So this is what that energy looks like. All right. Now, I showed you in the birth chart right here. This is what the 12th house looks like in the birth chart. So if you were to pull in your own birth chart, go to astro.com, throw in your birthday and stuff. Make sure you got to have this is 100% predicated upon knowing the time of birth. That's important. Okay. All right. So now when you see the 12th house, that's that area space right there in your chart. But this is the most important thing I want y'all to understand. Don't get lost in the chart. I want you to superimpose the chart on this, the sky. So the 12th house is talking about when the sun first come up in the east, and approximately on average, the first 2 hours of the sunrise. I can't stress this enough. This is the 12th house. So what we're going to do is divide the sky into different sectors of space called houses. Again, when you look at a chart, it's like this. But I think sometimes, this is new and it's like, what is this? What is this? It's no. And you never make the connection with the sky. You have all this is a 2D rendition of the sky. That's it. And from the AC to the DC, which means the top half of the chart, that is the sky when you were born, all the constellations that appear above your head in a sense. Okay. So the 12th house, the first 2 hours from sunrise, the sun rises at the AC. And then it travels well, in this case, it'll be traveling clockwise when you're looking at a static chart, okay, throughout the day. Okay. All right. So it's really this right here. And this is vitally important. All right. So if this is the 12th house, then this is the area of space that deals with secret enemies. This is the area of space that deals with the evil eye. This is the area of space that deals with the spiritual attack. It's this space right here. Okay? You got to know that. All right? So what happens at sunrise? This is known as day break. Right? You come from darkness and coming into the light. Now, I shown in the presentation, I don't know what name of it, what the name of the presentation was, but one too long ago, how the Quran emphasizes how the light and day, or the day and night, are really symbolic or equivalent to enlightenment and evil in a sense, right? These different states of consciousness, with daylight being the higher attribute and the nighttime being more or less of the satanic attribute in a sense, right? And so the Quran makes numerous comparisons with this night and day thing, okay? And so now we know that astronomically speaking, when the sun rises in the east, we are having daybreak. There is a shift that is occurring on the earth, along with the tides on the oceans, as well as sunrise and sunset. The tides change. All right. So what do we do here? And this is important. I should play it after the next one. Here's a surah, a chapter 113, bar none, hands down, my favorite prayer in the Quran. My favorite chapter right now may be Fusilat, but this is my favorite prayer. I recite this twice a day, at sunrise and sunset. And the English rendition is, say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the daybreak, from the evil of what he created, and from the evil of darkness when it settles, and from the evil of the blower and knots. Blower and knots can be translated as witchcraft. And from the evil of the envier when he envies, or when he practices envy, some will say. What that sounds like is this. Let me share my screen, because it's the most beautiful prayer, in my opinion. This thing is off the chain.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد.
I'm gonna let it go one more time.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد.
Man, I can't tell me that ain't beautiful. Right? Uh-oh. Where I'm at. All right. So yeah, that's man, that thing is so beautiful. That thing is off the chain to me. Right? So that's phallic, right? And so my Sunday classes, yeah, they gotta memorize this. You gotta put this to heart. And it's only like maybe what 4 lines or something. Like it's not, and it's a rhyme. It's technically, if you can hear it, it's rhyming. So to me, if it's rhyming and it's kind of, for lack of a better word, poetic, it should be easier to remember. All right, because it's bars in there. All right. So yeah, you say phallic at Surahs. So I know you do Fajr prayer before the sun come up. Alhamdulillah, that's great. But I just showed you astrologically. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, hold on. The 12th house deal with secret enemies. And how is it? You got to ask this question. How is it that the book's supposed to say, hey, the book come from Allah? And Allah is like, hey. At daybreak, I want you to pray against the blower of knots. I want you to pray against the envious one when he practices his envy. Some say jealousy as well. I want you to pray against that. I want you to pray against the darkness as it spreads. And obviously, it's not talking about nighttime darkness. It's talking about what we call an evil type of darkness. I want you to do that at daybreak. So you really got, in my book, for sure, you absolutely have Fajr, but then you got sunrise prayer too. For real. Okay. And if we really get astronomical and we had to weigh it out and just put it, you ain't touching daybreak. That's a mandate. That's in the Quran. That's a mandate that you do that. That's right there in your face. Perfectly aligned with the 12th house section of the sky to deal with secret enemies and spiritual attacks. And how so beautiful if you want a first shift schedule, right? And you happen to get up naturally with the sun, you ride with the sun, right? You just came out the ether. You just got through traveling. You just had some experiences called dreams. So you fresh, like you ain't, you know how you got to give yourself a minute when you get up because you ain't all the way there yet. You know what I'm saying? You got to give yourself a minute to get accustomed back to physicality. So why wouldn't you pray this prayer right now when you just got back from the spirit world? You feel me? The Quran knows this. It knows it. This is why it's addressing it right here. Man, I can't touch the Quran. Little MC Hammer can't touch this. All right. So what we got here, the word for dawn, we know is phallic. That's why the prayer is called al-phallic. But guess what? It's also a word that means cleaver, like a big butcher's knife. They'd be chopping the meat with cleaver. Okay. That actually give you an idea of what you can do. I should have put a slide in here. I show you how Allah put his eyes on me when the heavens was opened up and 2 eyes appeared. And it's because I had a weapon in my hand when I was doing a certain prayer every single time. That was basically a knife. All right. But it represents a cleaver, a weapon. A cleaver is a weapon. It cuts. So it parted, like it cuts through. So the dawn prayer is something that cuts through. Okay. Now, when we saw cleaver, look how it's used. In chapter 6, verse 96, is used as he is the cleaver of daybreak and made the night right? For rest, and the sun and the moon for calculation. Alhamdulillah, we can use the sun and moon for calculation. That's what we do. I just showed you when we put the sun in the 12th house, that's what it looked like. Yeah. But how ironic that the word phallic means cleaver. And when you use it as cleaver, you're talking about separating the night and the day. You see that? So it's a weapon. Phallic is a weapon. That's your weapon against the spiritual side. All right. All right. So last week on the Khalifa video that I did, I showed you that the Khalifa is the one that has to have the secrets of the universe. He's the person of authority, the teacher, the one who speaks. So he speaks the secrets of the universe, because literally that's what the word Khalifa means. We read Arabic from right to left, and from the back it looked like phallic, don't it? If we go the other way, almost, right? So Khalifa is 710 in its value when we add it up in the abjad. But I showed you last week in verse 4, we asking for protection from what? The mischief of the whispering, elusive prompter who returns again and again. And I showed you who returned, because look who returned. Who returned is the other time that they use that word, and it says by the retreating planets. Yeah. By the retreating planets. That's who returns. So you know what that's about? You know what that's about, ladies and gentlemen? The secret enemy thought forms is permeating space, and planets are serving as, it's kind of like a backboard when you play basketball. It's serving as some an instrument in which thought is being reverberated off of. This is why it's important. I'm telling you, this is why it's important to do phallic, because you're charging up space. The reason why Muslims face east, it just ain't about sunrise. That's the direction of sunrise. No, the earth is traveling in the eastward direction as it spins around the sun, because the sun don't rise. The earth spins and gives the illusion that the sun is rising. I keep saying, how can the sun rise when it's on average 90 something million miles in front of the sun at all times? So if it's always around the sun and we're going around the sun, how can it rise and come up and go down? So you're praying eastward because the earth is traveling in that direction, and you in unison with the earth, which means you're spinning constantly into a new area of space. So your prayer is ruminating through the space that you're traveling through. That's why you face east. Okay. All right. Bring this back. What we got here. All right. So again, last week, when we looked at the word for Kanas, which means the planet that was withdrawing, planets withdrawing, the one who withdraws, the planet that recedes, that's Kanas. Kanas equals 710, which was the exact same value as Khalifa, which equals 710. So again, the Khalifa is the one who has a knowledge of the universal laws. That's why that's there in the Quran like that. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, man. So remember, you want to do sunrise prayer. It's important. Anything coming up on the eastern portion of the sky is the 12th house at all times. It never changes. Directions never change. The only thing that's going to change is the constellation as the day progresses. So every single energy will be there throughout the day, meaning every planet in our solar system, meaning all 12 zodiac signs in a 24-hour period will occupy this region of space every single day, which you choose to use as a marking point. Are you going to wait for the moon to get there? Are you going to do it when the sun is there? Whatever the case may be. But the Quran says, say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn, the light. The light is important. Okay. So again, this is your direction of focus, that eastern sunrise position, and you're using the sun as a marker. Okay. I'm about to mess with some of y'all. Some of y'all don't know directions. All right. Hey, start using the sun as your marker. The sun rises in the east, and guess what? Then it's going to go to your right. That's the south. Then it's going to keep going to the right at sunset. That's the west. And then the last thing there is, because you won't see it no more at sunset, it's more of midnight type of energy. That's the north. But learn your 4 cardinal directions. You shouldn't be lost in this place. The Quran says, and surely man is lost by time. You tell me you lost for real, for real, for real. If we took GPS away from you and went old school maps, boy, you'd be in trouble. You'd be in trouble. You'd be in trouble. You should be able to follow the sun to California. If you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to follow the sun south. How do I get down south? Which way is south? About what time of the day is the sun in the south for me to identify the south? You should know these things. Why are you lost within creation? How? I'm lost to be lost within creation, right? No, stop it. All right. All right. So listen, for those of you, y'all better get this. I'm telling you, listen. I beg and plead, open up the heavens for them. Open up the provision so they know that this is real. Okay, that's on the Patreon, on the shop tab. You don't have to be a member to get it. But I'll show you what's working. Salute to Michaela. I think she in here, and I saw her earlier. She on her very first money period. What happened? And see, I love these type of examples right here. She had a client book for $1,800 while she was in her money cycle, and then she went to go play like scratch offs and didn't really hit that, but then got that. And what I love about this is, I tell people all the time, make sure that you are physically walking in the vision, meaning you got the vehicle for it. So if I want big money, man, I better go get in real estate. If I want some money, that's how I'm gonna play that, right? I ain't gonna come and pimp on y'all and get y'all money to try to make me rich. Nope. I'm gonna go get in real estate because I heard that thing make you rich. And I'm gonna come back and share that game with you so we all can get rich together who want to journey in that, right? Like, have the vehicle for it. So me sitting there visualizing the heavens opening up my money and it's coming to me, or however I do my visual. Yeah, that can happen that way. I can hit lottery and all that stuff, right? But if I'm in a vehicle that already expresses, it already has the capacity to hold the vision, it makes it better. It makes it better. And plus you're not necessarily creating what I call chaos, because sometimes, you know, somebody can die and leave you some money. And not that it wasn't ordained, but you should ask the spiritual question. I've been wanting to be rich and I really wasn't doing that. And the next thing you know, this person died and left me an inheritance. Damn, did I kill him? You should really ask yourself that. All right. And so it's nice to have the vision. So salute to Michaela for doing the work. This makes me proud. It really does, because I know this stuff works, right? Tanisha was the first one who did it last month when she had her cycle. In fact, she won this cycle a little, I ain't gonna say a small amount, but she won an amount on scratch offs on this second cycle that she's in. But on her very first cycle, she got $1,400 on her first cycle. Michaela, $1,800 on the books, first cycle. Okay. All right. Shout out to K Flav, who's don't in the report, but K Flav, she's so in the zone already and know these teachings. She know what to do. She know what her mindset need to be. So Delta Girl is crushing them. She had another testimonial before this, but just got hit with $1,000 bonus, got blessed with $1,000 bonus. And this was posted yesterday. I think it was yesterday. All right. So, salute to everybody in the Patreon doing their thing. All right. But don't slip, man. Don't slip. In fact, I think it may be one slot open. I think somebody dropped out. Maybe one slot open on the 75 tier where you would get the monthly money moon, as I call it, every single month. You just won't get a whole year, or you can pay for a whole year. right? It's listen, man. Listen. Michael, look what Michael did, and look what Tanisha did. Well, Tanisha paid the 300, and then immediately that day, in that cycle, won 1,400. So she up 1,100. Almost, what's that? Almost 4 times plus. 3 times 4 is 1,200. So once you get your money back, that's how you count real money. All right, it's the real way how you count it. All right. So she like almost 4x her money. Michael has said, nah, I'm gonna go the $75 route and start getting in her zone, and then her first confirmation will be $1,800 off a $75 investment. $1,800 off a $75 investment. Stop playing, man. Stop playing. And see, this is why my business coach Sharita say I be playing myself. She said I really supposed to be charging y'all like really charging. You know what I'm saying? But I said, nah, Sharita, I do it for the people. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I do it for the people. It's all right. I'm gonna be a poor righteous teacher, I guess. No, I take that back. I'll be a broke righteous teacher, not poor. Broke simply means the money stay gone. Keep that working, you know what I'm saying? But not poor. Net worth is all right. Pretty amazed at what I did for myself in a short period of time. But anyway, yeah, man, get into these sciences. Straight up, man. You can catch me in the Patreon right here. This is early. I told you this is gonna be short, but if you got any questions real fast, you can drop it in the chat. Yeah, and shit, if you want to mic up and say something, you can. Boom, I'll put the link right there. I think you have to click on it. Oh well, y'all on YouTube, so y'all can probably just click on it and or copy and paste it, and you can mic up if you got a question. You know what I mean? What Sharita say? Sharita said, if it weren't up to me, prices would at least be 4. See? I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. And some stuff you almost can't even quantify, because when it comes to like a pay raise, you know what I'm saying? Like you get that consistently for the rest of your life. That's building upon. That's like compound interest. It just keep on going and going and going. So how can I quantify that as a one-time transaction when you keep on getting paid over and over again? You see what I'm saying? So some things it's really a compound effect when you understand it. Right. But yeah, if y'all got any questions, let me know. Put it in the chat real fast, and or click that link. You can mic up, say something before we get out of here. I usually get off here at 1:30. Then go make my Juma. Who amongst you today in the Patreon, who's going to answer the call and go out and go feed the homeless today? Because I'm going today. I didn't make it last week because it was just a busy week. But after Juma, I go right here and go get some little Caesar pizzas, whatever they got in there. I don't feed the people pork, but I do feed them cheese pizza. Like that's any better, but I do feed them cheese pizza. Go grab my son. We ride around the west side, and we find people sitting outside, you know what I mean, and feed the homeless. So who, I think Khadijah, I think I did see Khadijah last week do something, but who amongst you will absolutely take a little bit of time of your day, go out into the trenches today and feed the less fortunate? I need a partner today. And you can drop it in the prayer and charity chat, because I will be about 2:30. You'll see a picture of some pizza boxes, because I'm gonna go do it. All right. What's up, Sharita? Get the money.
Hey, happy Friday. Oh my goodness. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's happening? Happy Friday.
Good deal. So I love these pop-up videos. I really appreciate them. Thank you. I just want to get a little clarity, because you know how my mind operates.
Yeah.
And I have my chart pulled up literally at all times. So when you started talking about the 12th house, and then you were talking about Neptune, and for me, I just want to make sure I'm making that connection, because the 12th house is, the house of, like, that's where secret enemies can be revealed.
Right.
But you also mentioned Neptune, and so look and see where Neptune is in the chart.
Yep, you can do that too. Yep.
Okay. And then, so for example, I have Neptune in the 4th house. How do I make that correlation?
So Neptune in the 4th it could be a parent or a family member or family.
Something foundational.
Yeah, exactly. Something foundational, something in the house, even.
Okay.
And
That
it can
makes sense.
also mean ancestral lineage. Neptune in the fourth is really what I would call a channeler. This person has the ability to communicate with those who are deceased. And usually they have a person that's watching over them from the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's interesting. You and I, when I had my consultation with you, last year before, we had talked about that space of intuitive channeling. And you had got you know, were kind of, was it clear audio?
Yeah,
And
I
you had
get a
heard
clear audience ability. Sometimes they come on.
and
Yeah.
you'd heard a name, and I was like, well, that's the name on my
What
paternal
name?
grandmother's side.
Yeah,
So
what is it? What's that name?
it was Williams, which was
Williams?
yeah, which is the last name on my paternal grandmother's side.
Yeah. Tell them, Sharita, what happened again? We was doing a session and I heard a name come to me.
Yeah,
Is that
we
what
were
you just
doing a
said?
session and we were talking about this space of intuitive knowing. And
Right.
you were kind of asking me some questions, and I was like, you said it's somewhere in your lineage. And I said, I'm not sure where exactly that comes from. And you
Yeah.
said you kind of, you got quiet for a minute and you said, hold on, William. And I was like,
Hey man,
"Hmm?"
that don't be me. Right.
And so I was
Right.
like, yeah, my dad's mom's maiden name is Williams. And so so we were kind of, and it was I think we had determined it was maybe in that in the masculine, somewhere in the masculine energy.
Yeah.
But
What
on
was your
my
grandmother? What was your grandmother's name?
Bessie.
Bessie.
Hmm.
Okay. Gotcha.
But what's wild about it is my grandmother and my grandfather are both orphans and were adopted. And so but I do know that Williams was her born name.
Yeah.
All of her siblings, because they all went out to different families.
Yeah.
But they came out of West Virginia into Buxton, Iowa, which was where a lot of free slaves ended up in Buxton, Iowa, and it was a coal mining town. And then they ended up in Des Moines, Iowa, where they were taken to a church that I happened to grow up in later on, not knowing this association
Yeah.
with my mom. And they were all adopted. Like, it was one of those where the story is told that they were all brought to the church, and they called the church members like, hey, we got these kids that need homes. And my grandmother was the last one to be adopted out.
Gotcha.
So they all grew up in the same city, just not together.
Yeah.
But they
Gotcha.
were,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I was picking up on today, right now, in this moment, like a Maddie or something.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe look, or maybe it's somebody that's in here, but I don't know. Look around for a Maddie. Let's see what
Okay.
happens. Yeah.
Okay. I will dive into that.
Yep. But yeah, Neptune in the fourth, it's a lineage, it's a spiritual lineage thing. The clairvoyance is there. The negative side is it comes from family, foundational things inside the home. You know what I mean?
Would this be something like in relation to generational curses or some,
Yeah, because the fourth house is generations. It's family members that have died. They're no longer here. So
Okay.
the fourth house in your birth chart shows you the ancestral roots that you connected to. So if Neptune is, like, for lack of a better word, spells and spiritual and deception and all that kind of stuff, then that it's possibility it comes from the family. You know what I mean?
Okay. And then incorporating what you were talking about in relation to doing the sunrise and sunset prayer, that would be something that, because I'm just trying to connect the pieces in my brain, that would break that, separate me from any type of negative generational. Okay.
Right.
Make sure it's not coming back and replaying in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Even if it's, hey, I released this, you know what I'm saying? I released this contract, all binding contract, and you go into you go into the prayer. So verbal contracts are standing. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, especially in the old times, you know what I'm saying? All you have a written contract ain't nothing but a verbal contract. You just captured the words. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you did. You just captured the words. A written contract is really a verbal contract. The written is just the proof that you agree to it. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Right.
externalized into it's externalized into 3D physicality. You know what I'm saying? We just took sound waves and trapped it on paper. You know what I'm saying? So verbal contracts is everything. So I rescind this contract. I cancel this. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be a sincere practice too. You know what I mean? So this is why, it's the daily praying and being on your dean, as we call it, every day is we know that when you be consistent every day, you start, the subconscious accepts it. Like, okay, it's the
Right.
truth. This is the truth. You know what I'm saying? But you do a one shot, one trick pony, you know what I mean? It may not stick like that because the subconscious don't even believe it yet, because it's so used to, you know what I'm saying, carrying certain things, you know what I'm saying? So got to be reformatted. And one of the ways you do it is through repetition. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it just feels good. It's a great thing.
It does. I will say,
Yeah.
since you've been talking about this more, I have been on a consistent prayer schedule. I have not quite committed to the 5 times, which
Yeah, I know.
I have no excuse.
I don't be
But I
messing
have
with you.
been,
Yeah, I know. I know.
but I
Child,
have been more
trust
consistent,
me.
and
I'll
I
be like,
do feel it.
what's Sharita? I know Sharita see that. I know Sharita see everything. So it's
Oh,
okay.
I do. I got all
I,
the notifications
I,
coming through.
I let her come.
So in that conversation, or excuse me, in continuation with the conversation, a few weeks ago, you had talked about that space of like going in for a year to kind of cancel, and then to hit neutral,
Yeah.
and then another year to hit that positive, and then by of course, when you're in that habit, to build that positive side. Would this be kind of that same mindset of?
Yeah, it's the same. It's in
Okay,
theory, yeah, for sure,
in
for sure. I
theory.
mean, you're getting positive grooves going. You know what I'm
Got
saying?
you.
And
Got you.
so now, you know what I'm saying? If you do, I'm glad you said that. If you do sunrise phallic for a year, you know what you just did? You just bless every single zodiac sign. And every zodiac sign lasts for 30 days,
Mm,
aka 30 degrees per sign. So if you be consistent with phallic every day, you just charge up the entire freaking cosmos, 360-degree circle, if you use the sun to do that. And this is why Akhenaten was big on the Atendis in Egypt. This is why in the Quran we have Surah 91, Al Shams, which is the sun, which again is 91 million miles from the earth when we're the closest to it. This is why Allah keeps telling us he's Nur Allah, the light of Allah, the light of God. You know what I'm saying? Which is an
mhm.
attribute as well of Allah. You know what I mean? And light is enlightenment, and all this good stuff is with the light. So yeah, you can charge the heavens. You got to charge the heavens up. If you do that for a year, you just bless the literally entire zodiac circle as
Okay.
it pertains to you and your relationship with it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so this is why it's important to be constantly on a daily routine.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Something intuitively that's just been kind of speaking to me. I'm getting ready this weekend to record, well, if I can, 8 to 12 podcast episodes. But I
Oh,
have some
snap.
very flagrant things to say, and especially with everything going on in our country right now and in politics.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
there's been this intuitive space where I'm like, I don't want to get hit, blindsided by someone's, a secret enemy, or someone in their feelings misinterpreting what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because it is going to be quite flagrant, um, and very privileged, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the space we operate from the, what's not the I hope, but the I am. So this to me, what you're talking about gives me a little bit more confidence, reassurance, not only from just, internally, but knowing that I'm operating in that space. And I've been trying to wake up earlier anyway, so I don't, this gives me another reason to go do that, and to guide more protection around me and everything that
Yeah.
I'm doing in the
Yeah.
space that I'm moving within. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. We are in the retrograde, so it's time to go back and revise some communication. You gotta do what you gotta do. You know.
Yeah.
I got you, Janine. That's a good question. So Neptune in the 7th house. So yo lover. That I love this placement though. The seventh house is the house of partnerships. It's the western portion of the sky to deal with marriage partners and close friendships. So then your secret enemy to a degree could be within that area. You know what I'm saying? Could be business relationships, as far as, contractual agreements. So you got to make sure contracts is on the up and up when you engage in contractual things. But your marriage partner could be, and or you could be that to them. See, energy is a two-way street too. So I can perceive you as being bogus. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that we really got to take in accountability on a higher scale. It's like, why am I going through this experience? Well, it's a good chance that you could have, you know what I mean? You could have been somewhere along the line. It could have been some mistrust issues that you projected, or abuse of power in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So everything in the next cycle in the resurrection is dealing with a balancing of the scales. You know what I'm saying? But the high side to Neptune in the seventh house, though, is you can't make no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Some people can kind of get around what I'm about to say, but you can't get around this. Inside of a relationship, like a marriage type of relationship, y'all have to be on the same spiritual path. You ain't getting around that. So it could be church. I don't care what it is. Y'all gonna have to be on the same thing. That's important for you. Anything less, when you're not operating when you are consciously choosing not to operate on the higher side of the spectrum of what that energy looks like, then you're potentially activating the lower side. And we got to remember this: the planets are nothing more than an external projection of the internal psychological process. Man and woman has every single aspect of these planets within themselves. This is the mystery of Jesus being buried at Golgotha. Golgotha means the place of the skull. Open up the skull, you're going to have 12 cranial nerves, and they run in pairs. 2 times 12 is 24. So that's 24 hours in a day. The 12 nerves, the 12 disciples circled around Jesus is something that's here inside of the head. So it's ultimately within us. Okay. So when we look at Neptune, it's our concept of spirituality. And when we get bogus, it's our concept of how I'm going to purposely deceive you. I want to get drunk and high today. That's an aspect of my consciousness as well. When we look at Saturn, it's the aspect of my consciousness that shows how responsible am I? How much do I keep time? How much am I willing to work hard? Venus is my aesthetic. That's what I perceive to be beautiful. That's what I like. This is the music I like. This is the food I like, and so forth. All of these planets are a representation of man's and woman's psychology. And all of them together makes the 12, because they all rule the 12 signs, and that makes the 12 man whole. That's cosmic man and cosmic woman. All of them make them up. This is why I love to teach the inner essence of astrology, because Aries is the head and the muscular system. Taurus is the endocrine system in the throat. Gemini is the lungs and the arms and the respiratory system. Cancer is the breast and stomach, which is going to be your lymphatic system because it deals with the waters. Leo is going to be the heart and spine, which is the cardiovascular system. Virgo is going to be the digestive system because it deals with the intestines. Libra is going to be the kidneys, which is the urinary system. Scorpio is going to be the sexual reproduction system because it deals with the sex organs. Then Sagittarius don't have a system per se, but it rules the liver, so that's part of the digestive system. So you got liver and sciatica nerve as well, but that's the thighs on the body. Capricorn is bones, teeth, and hair. So that's the skeletal system and the skin system. So it's kind of like the outer layering of some things of the body. Aquarius is the ankles and the nervous system because it's Uranus and rules electricity. So that's the nervous system. And Pisces is the feet, co-ruler of the lymphatic system. The only system that really don't have a pump to pump the water, the lymph back up towards the heart and whatnot. So all of these systems correspond to the planets and the signs in the body region. Therefore, the psychology, or what we call the keywords of the planets, is just a beautiful mirror of cosmic man and cosmic woman within. This is why the Quran says, and the signs are on the horizon and in themselves until they know that this is the truth. That's what it means by that. That's the mystery of that. The signs is on the horizon. and in themselves, so that they may know that this is the truth. Whoa, whoa, they're in, out there in me. And I got to come to a realization that something's going on, that that's the truth. Okay. Circadian rhythms. Sometimes some women's menstrual cycle, every time the moon get in this sign, she on her period, back on her period, back on her period. Some of them. Some are said to be on a more masculine cycle, which is a 24-day cycle, not a 28-day cycle. An intellectual cycle is said to be 33 days, but you know, what makes those, who knows? Okay. All right. I can take one more. We can get out of here in 5 minutes because I usually get off at 1:30. What you got, Sharita?
You know, I had a question.
Let's go.
Okay, so just quickly, and this I think is very short. You this month you gave me in my chart or my report my moon, like when the moon is here and here, to visualize this in the sky. But I'm also looking at the like the chart that you just had up, where you so in my mind I'm trying to correlate, can I just take a picture of those constellations and mentally apply it, you know, or do I need, you know, I'm going to be extra about it.
No. But that's exactly what I give those that's in that, you know, that's what the monthly moon, the money magic moon thing, you know, the whole,
Okay.
the money moon.
I'm just trying to figure out how I should visualize it.
Yeah. So what you do is this, I'm going to show you what to do on that report.
Okay.
So I highlighted your money house, your second house, right?
Correct.
In about 2 to 3 days, you're going to see an entry. And it's going to start with, it's going to say moon conjunct third house, and it's going to say telephone. I know it's going to say telephone.
Okay.
That's your cutoff day. So you got your starting day, I highlighted, and I got your cutoff day. Now, what you need to do is, here's some astro homework. That sign that is the starting, and that sign that is the telephone, the ending, right?
Okay.
So your start and your end. You need to look at those. If it's the same sign, fine. If it's two different signs, you need to know those signs, and there go your visualization right there. Okay. That's the constellation. So if it started in Cancer and ended in Leo, then that means Cancer and Leo is the one where that money provision is at. And then that's the constellation that you need to be in tune with and just sending that frequency to.
Okay.
Like right now, I'm already working on something because I got a nice 90-day battle with Mars coming up next month. So I'm already in the area of space before he get there. And so it's certain dickers I'm doing, and like, you know, like I'm on, like, nah, I ain't playing with you, bro. Move on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm already in the area of space. And then since I know, you know, how the heavens rotate, usually like when the sun is going more in the western sky, that energy is starting to come up. And when that energy comes up, then I know, like, oh, okay, cool. It's up on the horizon. Now it's time to go again. So every single day, my job is to, you know, because I know what this area of space represents. It's a hot zone. You see what I'm saying? So my job is to spiritually tap into my cosmic body. You know what I mean? When I say cosmic body, I'm already there in space. I don't have to go there, but I can go there. You know what I mean? In a sense as well. But anyway, yeah, size it up that way. And that's how you know how to do it.
Okay.
All right.
Got you. And that's what I had in mind. But then I, you know the way my mind works. I'm like, well, should I do this, and this? Or am I doing too much?
No, that's exactly how you do it. Because I keep saying, like, you know, we come from the ancestors that built pyramids that was pointing at specific constellations. They ain't there to be cute. They're there to facilitate a certain function. You know what I'm saying? So, yep.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yep. You got it. All right. What you say, Bobby? Yeah, Bobby, that's the goat, man. That's one of my goats, man. What'd you say, Madeline, to be specific? You said he had Maddie in his thing. Yeah, something Maddie would look. I wrote it down. I ain't lying. I was gonna say I wrote it down. I was like, let me see. Something came up. You know what I mean? But yeah, hit me up, y'all. In the Patreon. If you ain't in there, it's only $20 to get in that Patreon. But it's only maybe, and I think somebody may have dropped out the the monthly tier where Sharita is at to get a monthly report. And in the monthly report, I am starting to highlight some things, but I don't go in depth as I do with the people that's on the money side because it's specific. I created that specifically for that. And there's some other things that we doing inside of that to really just tackle that thing. Unless you got VIP like Sharita. So you're good. All right. But anyway, hit me up. We in here and we've Sharita and there she be doing free business coaching for y'all. It's a beautiful place to be in and whatnot. So I'll see y'all later, and y'all get out there and go feed the poor today. Let's create that vibe as well. So I'll see y'all later. All right, peace.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.